Sarah Davis from Integrated Treatment Services, and in this session I'm going to talk to you about using visual communication systems. Visual communication systems could be something like a visual timetable, which could look as basic as something like a strip of varying different sizes, but you're going to put symbols along. Or it could be slightly more complex, so we use ones like this. I haven't given a great example here because all the pictures aren't stuck on, but you could use something like My Work. So then the work's going to be a colouring activity, followed by a puzzle, followed by doing a clothes sorting activity. And down here you would have the motivator that they're working towards. So the child is going through, working on the activity, the motivator is always visual and there for them to see, and you take the activities off as each of the activities are done and put them away so they finally get to the point of the motivator. So you can start to measure the time that they're working for. We also use things like choice boards, so you can use this board such as I can choose. So when it does come to their motivator time, when they've done their work, you can get them to decide what might go on there. So it might be time with a giraffe, it might be time listening to music. You can choose how many to put on. If they will cope with a choice of 4, put them on. But if they'll only cope with a choice of 2, then obviously break that choice down. So once they've done their work, it's important for them to have some level of autonomy and be able to go over to the choice board and decide what it is they want to do. The great thing as a parent here is that if you find your child always goes for the same choice and you want to sort of start to vary what they can do, you might make choices available on certain days. So it's okay to put DVD or music out the way on one day. No, that's not on the board. Today we're talking about choosing either using the gorilla or using the bus, or maybe having a look at their favourite squidgy toy. So it might be this one. But it's okay to put some motivators out the way that day, so you can increase the range of choices that your child makes and sort of reduce some of the obsessions potentially that they may have with certain toys. Okay, the other thing we usually do is we use things called sensory boards. So if we know that we've got children that need some sensory activities, often sensory integration led activities, so helping them to prep their body, we might run some sensory circuits. So this one might be sort of roll them up in a mat, this one might be an element of vibration, this one might be things like fast walking or heavy carrying. So again, it's just another way for you to break down in a visual system so the child knows what are the different activities that they're going to complete. And you can always, in any of these, have sort of a motivator at the bottom to show them what they're working towards. So once it's actually finished, this is what they will get. So it's always a really good way to inspire and motivate some of our young people we're working with. Always remember that visual timetable should always go from reading from left to right. So you should always take them off in that order because it encourages the normal reading patterns. Always take the visual symbol off once it's finished. So have a finish box, something that you can just put it out the way in, a post-it box, so it's done, it's finished. For some children that don't cope with visual timetables, sort of, several different activities in a row, it's best to just start with a now, next, or a first, then board, we call them. So if, for example, the first activity was going to be doing the puzzle, rather than having puzzle and then doing our clothing activity and then doing our drawing activity, you would just have the actual work activity followed by the motivator. So you'd reinforce and you'd say first puzzle, then squishy. First puzzle, then squishy. Okay? So gradually you would build up. You'd then go on to the next one and you'd say, right, now we're working on our clothes activity, but they can choose their motivator, first clothes, and then might be gorilla. Okay, so gradually you can work back towards trying to get to something like this in place where you can have work, potentially then a motivator following. So you could get 2 activities of work in a row before a motivator, or hopefully 3 activities in a row and keep your motivator at the bottom. So these can be done exactly the same on a visual timetable. You could have something like puzzle, followed by clothes, and they're on there, little portable carrier, and then the motivator is going to be squidgy. Okay, so same thing, you would take the symbol off when they're finished, show that it's finished, so signing, finished, and it's done. And then when it comes to motivator, you could, if you wanted to, just have a choose symbol on here and actually then have your motivators to choose from so they can start to go over and be a bit more mobile. Okay, these things can really be reinforced by lots of technological sort of low-tech systems. So this one I put Slinky in, and you might, if you wanted to, you could use recordable cards or these kind of devices services. They're very cheap and you can get them on all sorts of websites like Special Direct is a really good one. And you could do your visual timetable in an audio way. So you could actually have something for your activities such as work. So you would have another little recordable device that says puzzle, and then the next one would say clothes, working on clothes, and then Slinky, okay? So it gives the child an auditory feedback, so they hear the word, they're more likely to be able to then repeat the word and to request as well using the word. One thing to reassure, it's the same with signing here. If you're using symbols, don't ever worry that your child won't be encouraged to say the word. They genuinely will. The more visual prompts we can give a child to help make something meaningful, the more likely they are to actually verbalise and say the word. So never fear that using these different systems will prevent your child from speaking. It honestly won't. It will only go towards helping them to speak. And there's lots of evidence in place to reinforce that picture too. So do have a look on our website. There's lots of visual timetable resources to save you having to make your own. We're constantly updating things around sort of different themes and times of year. So have a look. It's www.integratedtreatments.co.uk, and thanks for listening.